In another video, I already showed that the Yamaha Montage and the MX are very awkwardly programmed when it comes to operating with an external master keyboard. I can either send on one channel with the external master keyboard, effectively doubling the internal keyboard. This means I have the same setup on my external keyboard as on the internal one. I can switch to multi-mode, and then I can control each timbre individually, because unfortunately each timbre in the Yamaha has a fixed MIDI channel. That means I need a very powerful master keyboard to really be able to control all the sounds properly. Most people usually don't have that because it's not actually necessary. With some keyboards, there is indeed the possibility to create a workaround that allows for at least a bit more usage. And how that works, I would like to show you today using my Modx 6, especially with the smaller keyboard variants, and with the Studio Logic SL7 III. In the default settings, I have currently chosen the Yamaha single on channel 1, which means my SL sends on channel 1, effectively doubling the keyboard. This means that the lowest C on my SL is the lowest C on my Modx. And the highest C on my Modx is logically also the highest C on my SL. Since it has 73 keys, I naturally have 12 more keys, 4 of them at the top and the rest at the bottom. Is not particularly helpful, because it doesn't provide me with any added value, unless I really just need a great keyboard and manage to program it. However, that's not particularly satisfying. Now we can bypass the whole thing. I'll show you this here on the SL. It should work on other keyboards as well. We have the option to transpose globally in the main menu. That simply means I can transpose down a whole octave globally here. That means I no longer play the lowest C on the Modx keyboard at all. This means that the second C on the SL keyboard is now the lowest one on my Modx, and the same thing above is now much higher. I'll show again here. So I am now transposing downwards. This means I have gained an additional octave down here, plus the few keys that I already had. That's the beauty of the SL, which is a feature that allows me to transpose within each part whenever I need to when I go in here. Or I can directly use the octave button and transpose down an octave easily and efficiently with just a simple press of a button. That means I am now at the lowest C here and at the highest C here. That means I have already gained 2 octaves in my vocal range. That means I have 2.5 octaves on the SL that do not match the Modx, and on the Modx I have 2 octaves that do not match the SL. I will also try to illustrate this alongside. And now comes the fun part. Now I can also transpose the Modx up, of course. Specifically by 3 octaves. So my highest C of the SL is now the lowest of the Modx. That means I only have the 3 keys at the top, the D sharp, and the E, which are duplicated. And down here the sounds are all apart. That means I could now fully program the 73 on the 6, except for the top 3 keys. They would be right with the Modx and would still have space above to program completely. This means I have a separation of both keys. This is not optimal, but it is a workaround. I will show the whole thing again with the keyboard ranges so that you can see it. Now I will show you everything again piece by piece. I will transform everything back. How to transpose your keyboard? You will need to check your user manual for that. Let's start again from the beginning. So the C here. Okay. I also need to transpose the Modx back. I find the C here. I only gain that. I only gained the 3 keys up there. It hasn't helped me much. Now I'm transposing the whole thing down, globally. That means I can actually find the low C right here. And this C is exactly this one here. This means I have already gained an octave up to here. If I continue to transpose in my part, as I showed earlier, I am already here. And of course up here, as you can see, I have 2 musical octaves that are distinctly separated, which I can assign separately in this particular section. And down here now, of course, as well. So when I transpose the Modx up, I am here, I am even up here, which means I only have the 3 keys on the SL that are the same as on the Yamaha. And I can assign these here separately in my performance as I wish. I can also show this in more detail later in an example. If the master keyboard allows for transposition, you can gain some space and work around the issue a bit. It's not optimal, but it's a solution. If the master keyboard doesn't allow for that, then you might only be able to do it with 1 octave, but at least you can transpose on the Modx. I'll demonstrate that once again. So now we are back in the basic settings. If I now transpose the Modx up 3 octaves, I am at least here and have gained at least this area that I can assign separately. It's not the end of the world, but it's a solution to at least somewhat bypass this Miele problem with the small variants Modx 6 and Montage 6.